So welcome everybody to the Bridge Culture. Sorry, we are starting again because we have a technical problem, but now we are here again to present Sweden with the teacher Viviani Passos. So it's pleasant to stay here today to present this interesting country. And please, Viviani, start. Welcome today and thank you for your presence today here.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon for you in Brazil and United States. So for me, it's already 6 p.m. So thank you, Virginia, for your invitation and for the Isaac team, the Interassistantial Service of Internationalization of Conscientiology. And so it's a pleasure for me to be here and to explain something about the Holocausto of Nations, especially in Sweden. So I would start saying two important things about the principle of disbelief. That is a guide principle of conscientiological research. So do not believe in anything, not even what I say here. Research, reflect, refute, have your own experience. Linking to this, I would say also that I will present some Sweden facts based in my research and also based in my own experience. So maybe somebody else has another point of view. So please feel free to say, to put your information, to contribute, to give me some inputs to my research. I'll also I want to say that to study Holocausto of Nations and personal research, we need some temporal and spatial distance. So sometimes it's good when you're not living in a country and you have a better parameters of comparisons. So as I've lived in 6 different countries, so maybe I have a great range of comparison to see what is different here in Sweden. And also regarding to the temporal and historical distance, it's often say that sometimes when you're living some moment, some certain situation if, involves emotional reactions, it's difficult. You make rational assessments. So sometimes in the future, you have better conditions to assess what happens. So maybe my research is only in the beginning and maybe in 10 years, I have more facts or more or different perception what I'm saying today. So the main topics I can go on and say about the topics I will talk today. So I will present the key facts about the Holocene of Sweden, what includes some political, economic, religion, cultural information, also some points about geography and history details, what may contribute to understand what Holocene of Sweden is, and also based in my perspective, my experience, I will indicate some weak and strong traits, what lead us to assess Sweden's Holocausto responsibilities. And then I will present some facts about my personal experience here in Sweden. And after, in the final, we can have some debate and try to ask some questions. Of course, I don't know everything about Sweden, but I will try to ask, I do my best. So the key facts about Sweden, we can say etymology of the word Sweden is from the Isveriki. I'm saying like in Portuguese, we pronounce it. That is from the 14th century. Its name is due to the combination of 2 words, that's ver, which means we, and also refers to Sver people. There are people from the south of this region, Sweden, and Riki, which means kingdom. In Old English, the country was named Swedenland also. Official language in Sweden is Swedish. English is also widely spoken. and is taught in public schools. But also Sweden have 5 officially recognized minority languages. That's Sami, that's people who live in the north, in the Arctic area. I don't know how to pronounce it, but something like Mikieli, Standard Finnish, Romanic, Shib, and Hiadish. So they have this minority language also. The borders, Sweden has borders with Norway to west and north, and Finland to west, and is connected to Denmark in the southwest by a bridge that the name is Øresund. Also, that you can see here, I put the map here, and then you can see exactly where Swedish is located. So the capital is Stockholm. It's also called the Venice of the North. The area, Sweden is the largest country in the northern Europe, and the 3rd largest country in the European Union, and the 5th largest country in the Europe by area, because European Union is not the same of Europe, you know. So in population is around 10,348,000 people, according to Statistics Sweden in May 2020, which is around 50.3 are male and 4.7 are female. So there are more men than women here. It's a little small difference, but still. Population density is average 25.4 person for square kilometer. But in Stockholm, it has like 5,200 person for square kilometer. And in the Norrland, there's a city that the name is Kiruna. That's only 1 person for square kilometer. So here in my city where I live, it's 10,000 people, and we are like 32 person for square kilometer. And the age structure, so you can see there that more than half of the population here in Sweden have more than 55 years old. No, sorry. Has more than half has between 25 and 64, and more than 55 years old, it's about 20% of the population. And the life expectancy is 82 years old. And the fertility rates, it's 1.7 children for women. And the worst year that they calculated was 1999. But now it's increasing because of the migration. You can go to the political organization, the next slide. So Sweden is a constitutional monarchy. King Carl XVI Gustav is the head of state, but the whole of the monarch is limited to the ceremonial and representative functions. Also, it's a parliamentary democracy with legislative power vested in 349 members in the parliament, Riksdag. The government operates with a collegial body with collective responsibility and consists in premier minister and also other ministers. The administrative organization is a unitary state, but also is divided in 21 counties and 290 municipalities. So the public sector in Sweden is divided in 2 parts. The state, as the main organization, and the local authorities. The local authorities are divided in the regional county councils, the name is in Swedish Landsting, and the local municipalities, that is are the commoner. So healthcare, public transport, cultural institutions are managed by the county councils, and preschools, primary and secondary schooling, public water, utilities, garbage disposal, elderly care, and rescue service are managed by the municipalities. So also Sweden has its membership of some international organization. Sweden joined the European Union in 1st of January 1995, but has rejected NATO membership, as well the Eurozone membership after the referendum. They did a referendum to see if they want or not participate in the Eurozone, to use the euro as a currency. It's also a member of United Nations, the Nordic Council, the Council of Europe, and the World Trade Organization. And also, the next slide, you can go on. Now about the economic organizations, the economic facts. Virginia, okay, thank you. So, as I said, the currency here is Swedish krona, is not euro, because they reject in 2003 in trying to the European Monetary Union, because they believe that Sweden would lose this ability to react to global economic changes and the fluctuations in the European Union countries. About the unemployment rates, so they have 8%, according to statistics from Sweden in May 2020. So it's recent data. About the gross domestic product per capita, they receive, the average is $50,000, and in the world is the 22nd place in the world. So it's a very good one, GDP per capita, I mean. And about the Human Development Index, also is very high. So they are the eighth place in the world. About the economy, so Sweden is an export-oriented mixed economy. Timber, hydropower, iron constitute the resource base of our economy, with a heavy emphasis in export trades. So Sweden's engineer sectors accounts 50% of the exports, while telecommunications, automotive industry, and pharmaceutical industries are also very important to the country. Sweden is the 9th largest arm exporter in the world, so it's very serious, this. And also, but the agriculture accounts only 2% of GDP, of course, because of the climate, because it's very cold here. And so they also say that the country ranks among the highest for telephone internet access penetration. So they use a lot telephone and internet here. You see why after when I talk about the personality traits. About the social welfare system, so Sweden maintains a Nordic social welfare system that provides universal healthcare and education to the citizens. It makes the country very high in quality of life. They have health, education, protection of civil liberties, economic competitiveness, income equality, gender equality, prosperity, and human development. So about the geography, we can go on. Please, Virginia. Okay. First, you can do the game of mistakes. I would like to interact a little with you and ask you a thing. So I would like to ask you, which of these companies are not Swedish? I have a list here, and I can say that I have 2 of them that are not Swedish. And also I have some personalities here, and I have, I think, 1 here that is not Swedish also. So who wanna say something? Let's see if you know something about Sweden. Marcelo, go on. The only one that cannot say anything is Pablo, because he's from here.
That's a hard one, okay? But on the companies from some of the ones that I know, they are Swedish. But I'm going to guess one here that I don't know. I'm going to say that Swedish Match. That's not Swedish.
Okay. Anybody else? Anyone else want to say something? Jorn, Chris Arakaki. Thank you, Chris, for being here.
I think Volvo is Chinese now, isn't it?
Who? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Volvo.
I
think
Volvo.
they sold for China, isn't it?
More or less.
Yes.
Because they have still some part of Volvo is still from the government. Yeah, it's still from here. But most of them is China. They sell to China. Yeah. Thank you, Joe. Somebody else? Virginia, do you want to say something about the personalities?
Personalities. I was going to say IKEA. I think it's not
Swedish.
I think I'm wrong. So
Swedish thing in Sweden is IKEA. I can guarantee.
Jacqueline?
I think AHA. AHA is not Swedish.
AHA is not Swedish. Good, really good. It's from where?
They are Norwegian.
Norwegian, yes. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you're right. And about the companies, has one more. Actually, Marcelo, you're not right. Swedish Match is Swedish. Include in Manaus, we have in the industrial group, we have industrial companies there, and the Swedish company we have there is Swedish Match in Manaus, in my city. So, but we have 2 others that one is Norwegian, I can say, and another one is Danish. And also, I can say that I thought that all of them was Swedish. I realized this now when I was researching for this presentation. So, somebody else?
What about Atlas Copco? Is it Swedish?
Yeah, it's Swedish.
Oh my God. H&M is Swedish.
Yeah, Spotify Swedish, EF Education Swedish. I didn't know. Yeah, but which is not Swedish, which is Danish, is Jysk. Jysk, Scandinavia for living, for good living, for better living, something like that they say here in the publicity. So, but IKEA and Jysk is the same kind of companies. They sell things for houses, furnitures and many things. And Jysk is Danish, but IKEA is stronger Swedish. And also the another one that is, I thought was Swedish, because here is very strong also in all Nordic countries, Scandinavia countries, is Telenor. Telenor is Norwegian. And I was really surprised with Spotify and with EF Education. I didn't know they were Swedish. And also AHA, of course, I discovered that when I was living in Norwegian, that AHA is from Norway, it's not from Sweden. But Roxette, everybody knows Roxette in Brazil, is very famous. It's from the 80s. it was really famous in Brazil, and they are from here. They actually, Marie lives like 20 kilometers from this city where I'm living now, in the South Sweden. And ABBA, of course, Greta Thunberg, of course. So you have some Swedish connections in your mind now, okay? Let's go on with the presentation. You can go to the geography points. Okay, let's go. So Sweden is situated in North Europe, lies west of the Baltic Sea and Gulf of Bothnia, providing a long coastline and form the eastern part of Scandinavia Peninsula. Its border with Norway is the longest uninterrupted border within Europe. It's 1,060, almost 1,620 kilometers long. Is around of 65 of Sweden total land area is covered with forest. So the forest and the water here, they have is everywhere. So they have a lot of natural resource here. And Gotland and Åland are the Sweden's largest islands. They are in the west part, in the Baltic Sea. It's about, and also about 15% of Sweden lies in the north of the Arctic Circle. About the climate, the country can be divided into 3 types of climate. The southernmost part has oceanic climate in the south here. So the central part has a humid continental climate, and the northernmost part has subarctic climate. Because of Sweden's high latitude, the length of daylight varies greatly. So north of Arctic Circle, the sun never sets in the summer, of course. So, and it never rises for part of each winter. So, for example, in the Stockholm, daylight lasts for more than 18 hours in late June. So here, the solstice, the summer, they have 18 hours of sunlight, and but only 6 hours in 22 of December. They have only 6 hours of sunlight. So it's really, for me, I'm from equatorial area, from Manaus. That's we wake up at 6 and to have already the sunlight, and it's 6 afternoon we have already the night during all year. So for me, it's really different. Sometimes this affects a lot the human, I can say, because in December when we don't have light, so 2 or 3 o'clock, rains a lot, and then we start to feel like it starts the day like 9 o'clock, 8:30, and then 6 hours after we finish eat, and it's already 9. So you feel like, wow, finish the day. So it's already, so it's really bad, I can say.
Vivian, may I say a question about that?
Yeah.
I was thinking that because you are Brazilian, these problems for you could be worse or not. What do you think about being a Brazilian and living in Sweden? Do you think your temperament can help because you are more openness? What do you think about the temperament and the culture?
About the temperament, you see that is very different also from Brazil. But about the temperament of the Swedish people, I can try to be more open, of course. But about the climate and the temperature and the sunlight is really difficult because it affects your body, your energetic processation of, how you feel. you don't know how, for example, I used to go to Brazil in the summer, like February, and I feel good because I have sun, and then I come back here, it's winter, it's okay. But this year I couldn't go because of the coronavirus. So I really felt the less of vitamin D, you know.
It's
I really
funny.
felt angry, depressed, you know, it's really strong for me.
It's very funny because when you were talking, I used to say the opposite. When it was summer here in Brazil, I couldn't stay here because it was very hot. So I used to go to Spain to spend February or January for avoid the weather. So it's really
but in Spain, the winter can be between 5 and 20 degrees. But here the winter can be minus 15 until 5. You know, the maximum now the maximum grade we have here is 20 degrees for summer. So you know, this week it was raining all week, so it was a maximum 18 degree, and it's summer. You know, so. Is the winter in Spain. So and I'm in the south part of Sweden. You can imagine how can be in the north. So it's really hard. When you talk about your body, maybe it's more difficult, the adaptability, you know, I feel. And also I can say, maybe Pablo can talk about that also, because includes for Pablo is really difficult. He really wants to be in Brazil during the winter, or at least to be in Spain. No, Pablo, do you want to say something?
Hello, everybody. Yes, it's really difficult to be in Sweden this wintertime. It's taken a little bit like negative way. Like you don't get enough like sunlight, but anyway, it's some people really is comfortable with it. You know, standing on like high standard of living, because the inside the house is really like climate protected, like isolated house. You can go in shorts inside in winter, no problem. So yeah, it's different kind of living, and yeah, it's really, it's like you go into dormancy in the winter, like the bears. You going behind the scene, you almost can say that. So, but yeah, in the summertime, it's really you see all the Swedish people like shining up, going out, they have a barbecue, they start to live. It's like a flower, you know. In spring, everybody's starting, woo. But the summer is so short here. So it's comfortable, really difficult to stand out living here. Yeah, I'm a typical Swedish. I want to be in Spain. I want to be in Brazil because I can't handle it. I'm not the typical Swedish guy who going for the winter. If it's there's snow, yes, and sunshine, yes. But if it's raining, cloudy, no, I'm not that kind of person. So I can't even live in England. But if I have been living in England, I have been. That should be real difficult. They're raining more than here. So yeah.
That's why he fly away from here and was living in most of the latest years in Spain, and try to be in Brazil at most. But no, baby, it's every time he wants to go to Brazil because he really wants to stay out from this weather. It's really hard. So let's go.
I think we have one question from Christina, and I think John wanted to tell something.
Okay, great.
Please, Christina or John?
You mentioned the energetically side and that there was a lack of energy for the body when the sun was off. But interesting is that many of the Swedish people are parapsychic. So how can you explain, or have you contact with people working with out of body experience or so? How does it fit? Because it's interesting. The energy side is one, but the parapsychic could be better. Is it
Yeah.
true?
Yeah, maybe because they are more concentrated in their selves, you know, and themselves. I mean, because I think the parapsychism, you need also mental somatic concentration. So with the cold weather, they are more concentrated in themselves, and also they are more reading, and that's why maybe they have this ability better than me, for example. I mean, of course, here I think also there's some benefits I point in the final of this presentation. That is the mental somatic development here. Here for me was really great because of the cold weather, because the people are very reserved. So of course you can concentrate in experience of out of the body also. I think so. That's my opinion. Okay.
Hi, Vivi. Yes, hi,
Yeah.
Viviane. How are you?
Good. It's Christina.
Congratulations for your presentation.
Thank you.
It's good to hear from you. And yeah, that's exactly what Johan has asked, that I was going to ask too, about the influence of this kind of weather in the parapsychism. How, as you have lived in other countries, if you perceive any kind of influence in your parapsychism when you have this long winter and sometimes.
I think here also they have another good thing for them is they have a lot of natural resource. Mm-hmm. So the dense forest and the water energy. For example, I live in a city and I think like 75% of my city, it's a lake. It's from my apartment, like 8 meters, and it's a very, very big lake. So this city is I feel a lot of energy around, you know. And so I think this also help to the parapsychism.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that besides the immanent energy, maybe the low density of population also could help. But I don't know. And also the holoful scene, the whole holoful scene of the northern Europe. I don't know if it helps as well. Besides the immanent energies and the low density of population, if this could help as well.
Yeah, I think it's the parapsychism. Is the sum of these factors also, and also that's why the history maybe can influence, but also you see that's not paradise. So there's something that's some traits of them, some characteristics of the Swedish people that also like is disturbed, and I think maybe I don't know. I don't know many people that have many experience out of their bodies. So I don't know if it's easy for them to know. So, but for me, I can say that I feel better to develop this kind of ability here because of this sum of factors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have another
question. Thank you, Chris, for your question. Huh?
Yeah, I don't know if it's in Sweden or if it's in Norway that they have these mythical entities like little. It was like little dwarfs, not little dwarfs. It was like I don't know the name in English, but you know the
elves.
The elves. Yes, the little elves. Yes, thanks, Marcelo. The little elves. It's in Sweden or in Norway that they have this. They are mythical and they are funny and they are like sometimes these elves they are funny and they try to, but they are mythical entities. I can't remember if they're from Sweden or from Norway.
Yeah, in the north, in the article, they have the Sami, that's like indigenous people from here, and they have some, but not now, because most of them now are Christians now. But before, they have some, like, how can I say? There's a name for this, I cannot remember now, but this kind of magician and this kind of things. And also they have some hippies communities to try to go against this independence theory of love we'll talk after. So because they try to get together more than the society of individuals they have here. So they try to break this, and then they have like communities. They are all together, living together, you know, and try to live in a different way from the typical Swedish people.
Yeah.
I know. Sorry, I mean, I can say something about the elves. I think Christina wants to say the trolls, not the elves. Elf is from something from, I think it's from a different country, but trolls, we have a lot of trolls. It's a fairy tales for the kids living in the woods. It's a fun. Elves, we don't, I don't think we are.
Elves are Irish.
Yeah, exactly. I think that the elf is Irish and the troll is a Scandinavian thing. Yeah.
And I know that they have lots of tradition of the storytellers. So when you have long winter, there are people talking to the children, and there's a huge tradition of storytellers. Very, very, very cute. I like. But I have a different question. How did you feel the influence of the monarchy? When I was in Sweden, I was in Stockholm, and then I felt, wow, the monarchy is visible. So the people like this. Oh, you have the history. Sorry. You will talk about it. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe I can go on, and then after the historic events, I can talk a little about this. But first, I want to show this photo in the geography slide, please, just to see that this photo is the lake that the city I'm living here, and there is the freeze lake here. And then after you see in the summer how it used to be this lake, okay? So let's go on with the historic factors, and maybe you can have a wider vision from this monarchy perspectives. So about the Stone Age, they say that the country's occupation began in the south during the Stone Age, when the ice resulting from the last glaciation receded. The Viking era was a period of almost 3 centuries in Scandinavian history. Was not only in Sweden, but in other Scandinavian countries. Between the years 1800 and 1100. So the Vikings were a small part of the population that participated in operations of naval war or maritime commerce. Most of the Scandinavian population was agricultors, so they never left their hands. So the Vikings were a small part of it, you know. So most people were dedicated to agriculture, to hunting, to fishing. With the increase of the population, the improvement of the technique of shipbuilding, they start to go to look for fertile lands to colonize. So they say Vikings' conquest were not purely destructive, but they gained that bad reputation because they conquested many areas in Europe. You can see in this map. So the Danish and the Norwegian Vikings went to Ireland, Iceland, England, and France, more to the west. And the Swedish Vikings sailed mainly to east areas, so sailing to Russia and Poland. Okay, you can see in this map. I don't know if you can, it's too small maybe. And also in the 10th century, the Viking age ended because of the Christianity in the European civilization that arrived in Scandinavia. And also the line of Swedish monarchs from Svealand, that is the place in the South Sweden, is like Gothenburg and this area here in Skåne. And Gotland were ruled under the same king that was named the Victorious, the Gede, and his son Olaf. So these events are often described as consolidation of Sweden. And also after was incorporated some other lands, you see. So another event was in 1210. An alliance was formed between the church and the state, with implications until 2000. So the church and the state were together until 2000 now, when they were two officially separated. So in these years, this unified Swedish kingdom with the church. And after we have another period that was really important for Sweden, that was established the Kalmar Union. That was it was joined under a single monarch. Swedish clock. So
6 o'clock.
Yeah,
6
no,
times.
No, it's 7 o'clock now. Okay.
Yeah, 7 or something.
So there was a single monarch that the name of her was Margareta. She was the most powerful ruler in Scandinavia. And so she did the three kingdoms in one. So it was Denmark, Sweden, and Norway. And this era came to the end because of the Danish King, Christian II. He hosted a banquet in Stockholm. That history is really bad. And he locked the doors. He invited a lot of Swedish nobles and decapitated over 80 Swedish noblemen who he considered disloyal. And some, of course, tried to escape, some survived. One of them that survived was Gustav Vasa, who survived to this Stockholm bloodbath, and after was crowned as King of Sweden in June 6. That's why June 6 is the national day here, okay? They celebrate the national day here. So this king, Vasa, transformed Sweden in a federation of provinces and transferred all church property to the crown in 1527. In this period, Lutheranism came to replace Catholicism as a state religion. And then was established the hereditary monarch. So start in that period of time. During this period of 150 years, so 1570 till 1720, they were constantly in blood disputes over territory. So they conquered in this time Poland, and also they conquered in 1668 or 58, they invaded Denmark and take for them the South Swedish province that today, for example, this area where I live in the South Sweden were from Denmark until this time. So Skåne, Holland, Blekinge, the three provinces were from Denmark and now it's from Sweden since this. And then they also signed a treaty with Russia that established the actual boundaries with Finland. In this area, in 1719, they did a new constitution, transferring a political power to the parliament also. From the king to the parliament, I mean. And they have also an age of liberty in the 18th century, gold age of Swedish culture. when they built most of the elegant buildings in Stockholm, the theater, the opera, the public buildings, castles. You can see some photos there. And also they lose in 1809, they lose Finland to Russia in the Napoleonic Wars. And then what the king from Sweden, he abdicated and then assumed Napoleon Marshal, that was Jean-Baptiste Bernadotte. So the present royal family descends from him, from the Bernadotte. This time they also remove the absolute power of the monarch and divide the power between king, government, and parliament. So, John, I can also say that since this new constitution that was 1719, the king has not this big power in Sweden because they divide the power with the parliament. Okay, so in 1814 they attacked Denmark again, and forcing now they give the Norway to Sweden. So Norway belonged to Sweden until 1905. So, and also that was the last war they have in Sweden. It was 1814, what means that they are more than 2 centuries without wars. That's a very good point here. Also, during the more than 100 years, they stay in crisis with famine and economic crisis, what made approximately 1.5 million Swedes, a third part of the population, that emigrated to North America, most for United States. So today, there are more than 4.5 million Swedish Americans, as they say, according to US Census Bureau in United States. So in the First and Second War, Sweden tried to keep their political position of neutrality, so they don't fight against the Nazis, but also they don't defend their neighborhoods, Norway and Denmark. And in 1936, the concept of welfare state was developed as a public program to combat the misery and also improve economical situation of Swedish. And since there, they guarantee unemployment, benefits, paid holidays, childcare, and try to have a right to good housing. In 1975, another constitutional change removed the last political powers that the king still have. Now they don't have any political powers. So, so in 1975, they removed these political powers from the monarch. And in 1995, Sweden joined European Union. And in 2000, as I said before, Lutheran Church and the state were formally separated. So what I can say about the monarchy is they only have formal presence, you know. They don't decide anything. He's only maybe working with NGOs and participate in some events of international affairs and some this kind of duties. They don't have any kind of opinions in the government. So they are only like a public figure, try to help to give the Swedish representative, but they don't have any political powers. Since the 18th century, they have less power than the normal monarchs in Europe, I think. So Some question about the historic part?
Yes. When I was in Sweden, I felt in Stockholm that the monarchy is visible. So the people are nuts when there's something happened with the king or something like that. Everyone wants to know what happens, and the information about the monarchy was in the speech of the people. So they talked about it. How is it where you live? Have you feel something about that contact, or nothing? Is this only focused on Stockholm?
I think it was like a particular point focused in Stockholm. For example, like I think 2 years ago, the prince he got married, and then it was in the TV, and the people comment. Of course, they are in the magazines and this kind of things, like you know, in Brazil you do with famous people, but they don't have any significant power, you know, to interfere in the government, for example. And here in the south, when I live in a very small city, you don't hear anything about it. For example, yesterday I was reading about the Swedish culture. I got I think I'll try to find here. Okay, this is a guy that Katja Rakaki, she recommends that the series of Culture Smart, and each country, many countries have like this guide about the culture of each country. It's really interesting. And then here I discovered that they still have like 600 nobles families, like they represent like 30,000 people in Sweden, and I didn't know. Of course, they have some because they have money, they still live in some slots, in some castles. But actually, for me, I don't live in this world. I don't hear anything about it. You know, I didn't know even they exist, but I still have this kind of nobles.
Yeah. And I know that the Freemasons are very strong in Sweden also. Masoneria.
Okay. Yeah, but I never heard about it. I don't know if Pablo wants to say something. Pablo, the nobles make difference in your life here in Sweden?
No, I don't think. There's some people, they want to be different, but that kind of people you have everywhere, if you're rich or not rich. But I mean, otherwise, there's some, you want to be rich, they call them wannabes. They are not rich, but then there are the nobles. Yeah, a snob. And we have the nobles. I think they are like standing behind the king and everything. And what's about the king is happening in Stockholm is, if I've been living in Stockholm, of course, I've been going there and checking it out. I mean, it's quite nice to see all these horses and all what they're doing. It's quite nice. But when you're living down here in the south, you don't have a clue. And even if you're living up in the north, so in the woods, you don't have any clue what's happening in Stockholm. So that's what I know. That's from my point of view. So.
Okay,
Viviane,
can you go
Viviane, one question before you go on. Okay, I see in the historic events that Sweden has been for more than 100 years without going into wars. Okay. But at the same time, on the economic figures, we see that there is a strong, income from exporting arms. Okay,
exactly.
How do you see the Bellic Oligocene inside Sweden?
They try to to show that they are very pacific, but of course they are interested in the economic, profit. So it's like every country. So they are on in the capitalism rules, So I think it's some karma the country we have in the future, selling a lot of planes, as you see, and a lot of weapons, for many countries, include to Syria now. That's why many people, there's a lot of criticism about this, because Actually, they are saying they're selling a lot of weapons to United States, in the Afghanistan, to Iran, Iraq. So, and then after they have to receive the refugees from these countries, and they complain about it. So it's very ironic or contradictory, I don't know. So it's really, it's konstig, as we say in Swedish. Strange.
Weird, yeah.
Weird, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
double moral.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was asking you, Viviane, about this kind of incoherence and this kind of contradiction, because from one side they have all, for instance, the Nobel Prize, the Peace Nobel Prize, and then the no wars, but they export arms. And also in the environmental field, I don't know if I'm right, but I know that Sweden is one of the countries that has been supporting a lot of international funds in order to to support environmental actions, but internal, I think that they have like huge problems regarding to oil. I don't, if I'm not mistaken, they have like they extract oil, and they have like some kind of internal issues regarding to the extraction of petroleum, of oil. So this is what I'm going to ask you. How do you feel this kind of contradictions of, in a way, some kind of, if you perceive that some kind of incoherence, and the result in terms of the, if you talk about holokarma, the result in the polykarmic account, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's more positive, or do you think it's less positive? Do you think they're credit or debits?
Yeah, it's a really difficult count to do. No, I don't have this calculator from the evolution. But it's really difficult question, Chris. But maybe you can go on to the next slide, and then I will show many others contradictions you see now from the strong traits and weak traits. And maybe you can help me to find this answer, because for me it's really difficult. Maybe they are starting, I see, for like in a very small perspective, like trying to say something, is I think they're trying to start the recomposition phase, but they're still not there, because they have many accountants, debts they are doing now still, because of this, the weapons, because the migration, xenophobism, they still have here sometimes. So it's still that many things they're trying to go on better, but it's not that good. How they try to sell it, that's the problem. They try to sell it that Sweden's a paradise. So I think I agree with you. I think this is very incoherence that they have with this kind of things. I can bring more data with these strong traits and weak traits, and in the final, maybe everybody can say something about this and see what's is more credit or more debt. I don't know. I really don't know. So,
how do you say they are armed exporters and they are in the list of the 10?
Sorry, I'm not hearing.
Oh, sorry.
Could you talk more close to your...
They export arms and they are the 8th in the list, yeah? The 8th biggest country to export, yeah?
Yeah, that's a very contradiction.
I know, but we have to remember that the first in the list is the United States, and then you have Russia, France, Germany, Spain.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They are the same of every other countries. You know, they try to be different, but they are the same. So you know, so this is clear.
Some countries are even worse than
yeah.
that
But I think it's because of the capitalism, you know, so they are part of it. They are not out of it, you know, to be better, or they are not trying to be more humanity and university, mega fraternity. They're not trying to do that yet. In some points, they're trying to do better things, but they're not perfectly yet. So, okay.
I want to say something.
Please.
I think there is a two different, because the fabric of the weapons, and there's a Saab Scania, and the Saab is the car that they took away from Sweden, the sole autonomous Russian company doing cars again, and the Scania is the trucks, and the trucks was sold to Volkswagen in Germany. But then we have the airplanes, so that's the war thing. They do weapon, they do that, but they have been like, it's the capitalism, and so it was half government and half like personal company. So I think they were selling out, and they want to be and the government didn't want to be in inclusion of like a negotiation to handle with guns. Before there was, but now they don't want to. So I think I can't remember it, but I think the company is totally private. It's not the government anymore. So
but it's still Swedish, Pablo. It's still people
it's still Swedish, and they do a really good negotiation with Brazil. Example, 150 plane, and they develop is the war thing in Brazil because they can't do it here in Sweden. So that's it's a sad thing, seriously.
Incoherence, yeah. So let's go on, and then you see, for example, the personality traits. No, like strong traits. They are honesty, modesty, focused workers. They are organized. But in another side, they are also romantic patriots, nationalistics, reserved, repressed, self-sufficient, avoid the confrontation, have a dry sense of humor. I say that they have a cold heart. And then, so you can see the difference. For one side, they are very good in many things, but on the other side, they are still weird, you know. So in general, they love take care of their homes and child, their homes and their child. I believe that in the big cities, they are more individualistic, and then in small cities, they are more family and friends, but more family than friends. So the normal Sweden, there was a TV program here, very traditional, which shows that had a husband and wife with 2 kids, live in a yellow house with their car, they were Wolf, and a dog. That is the Svensson, the normal Swedish way of life. Okay. And in about the strong traits, you can say also some values and principles. Values, they indicate in this book like lagon and jantelagen. And principles, there's some like equality, fairness, punctuality. So I will say something about lagon. Lagon means laget on. That means around the team. So it means the sense of take. Some benefits like what is just enough for himself. So and leave the remaining things to the others. It means that it works, for example, in dinner tables, in business situations, and also in the social welfare system. So you just take just enough what you need for your basic living needs, you know, but not too much. You remain the things to the others that come later, you know. This is the what lagon means, around the team, just enough for you. And the jantelagen is the name it's the Jean Laws that was written in a novel named A Fugitive Crosses His Tracks. It was written early 20th century. The author was Danish. The name is Axel Sandemos. He listed 10 rigid laws designed to keep people in their place. The first of this law was, you will not believe that you are something, which means you cannot believe you are wiser, that you are better, that you are more important than anyone else. So I can say very quickly that the 10 laws, but for example, you are not you're not able to think that you are anything special. You are not as good as we are. You are not smarter than we are. You're not better than we are. You don't know more than we do. You are not more important. You are not good at anything. You cannot laugh at us. So this kind of things, okay? So the people here in Sweden believe that this novel have a great impact in Swedish society, and that's why the modern Swedish, they have some values like modesty and self-restraint. It also affects other aspects of their behavior, like dress. So they don't use to have bright colors, use a lot of jewels. They say that good clothes are not necessary, but the good clothes, the good clothes are not necessarily beautiful clothes, but the clothes with quality, you know, really warm, with gloves, with warm boots, waterproof coats, and a second pair of shoes. So there's a phrase here that they say, there's no bad weather, only bad clothes. What? Did you say something? Somebody say something? Sorry. Okay. So I can repeat the phrase, there's no bad weather, only bad clothes. So if you buy really good clothes, you'll not feel cold. What gentle law affects also the manners. They don't use to laugh, much less they never laugh out loud. They are economical talkers. They give short response. It's very difficult for them to express emotions and criticisms. If they are not interested in your proposal, they may not say some direct rejection because they don't want to deal with a confrontation or high emotion. They simply ignore and do not respond or never. So they don't say anything, just go on and ignore you. It affects also education. They say that the law does not encourage competitiveness and individual achievement. Of course, I think this changed because mainly for the youngers, because of the capitalism values, most of the American values like high consumption, excessive spending, demonstrating how successful you are because you have earned a lot of money. So the youngs are changed because of this influence, but the laws that not encourage this competitiveness. It influences also the tax. If someone have more than other, they pay more tax. So the less fortunate can have more public services. It means who earn more than $50,000 a year have to pay 50% of tax about that what exceeds. So it makes very difficult to become rich in Sweden. This law, the gentle law, also influence the marriage and also the sexuality behavior. It's common couples live together, but unmarried state, like they name here sambo, or also they have another kind of like official relationship that is, the name is serbo, that is to be committed to each other, but live in separate house. It's very common, includes for the older people. Today, neither religion or pregnancy is completely reason to marry. They have a liberal attitude toward sexuality. with homosexuality also. It's normal teenagers bring girlfriend or boyfriend to home to sleep. One thing that is strange for me, it was really strange when I was arriving in Norway. I used to say my friends, Brazilian friends included, that was married with the Norwegian guys and women. They used to go out alone without their partners. So they say that they used to go one day, for example. It's common for a man to go out with their friends to bars, to their parties, and the next day the father take care of the children at home, and then the woman go out alone to the bars and the parties with their friends. They said it's because it's equal rights, and they explain, for me, I think that explain that why many partners end up separating or they prefer to live without partners because they already living their own lives, you know, although they are together. So it's very strange for me also. The good part is the sense of equality. In school, since they are kids, they both boys and girls are taught to do housework chores. The boys also learn in the school to cook, to sew, to make furniture. So Pablo has a lot of things here that was done by him in the school. He knows to sew and I don't know. So I'm not proud of this. Over 80% of Swedish women work outside home, and they have 18 months of salary paid when they have a child, what can be shared in any proportion between the two parents, okay? Another thing is punctuality. It means not 5 minutes early or not 5 minutes late, but exactly on time. Is because they don't want to show that everyone's time is, they want to show that everyone's time is equally important. Another behavior is like principle is patience. It fits well with no confrontation. They have a strong need to avoid confrontation, to be equally strong desire to reach a decision by consensus. They are organized to outside, for me, for example, sometimes appear like compulsively orderly, compulsively obsessions with organization. Sometimes my husband needs to be like this. But this gives them a sense of security. They have safety cars, they have safety belts, they have safety match. So they try to do everything in a very safe and security way. They are very hard worker, but not workaholic. I can explain the difference. The job is very important to them, so they are very focused and try to also doing their best during the working time, but they separate their work from the private time, so they don't use to work overtime. The workaholic is condemned by gentle law, and it's treated like suspicion. So you're not efficient, so you need to do more hours in your job, or your personal life is bad, that's why you need to prefer keep working. So it's not, they don't have a good view about this. But another times, the good things is the employees, that they don't have fear to be out to lose their jobs, because they have strong labor laws. They have a lot of support from the labor unions. Any questions, any problems they have, they directly call to the unions, and the trade unions immediately contact the company and solve the problem. And the last things about, I have two things more, the strong traits. Environment friendly, they are very proud to protect this natural space. So they work hard to maintain the space clean, to recycle. In front of my house and each house here, we can find 8 different types of garbage deposits. You have organic garbage cans, clear gas, dark glass, soft paper, like newspaper, hard paper, and then the last one has to file. The Pablos can explain after what it is. And also you have another recycle center in the city that's for construction material, furniture, electronics, sprays, batteries, and kind of things. In the supermarket, we have a recycle system for plastic bottles. You get 1 krone for a small one and 2 krones for big bottle. For example, if you have 20 bottles of Coca-Cola, you can have 40 koron. What it means, have 25 reais in Brazil. So it's a good thing. About the religion, I didn't talk about this before because I want to treat this like a no dogmatic behavior, because the majority of the population belongs to the church, officially more than 50%. 50%, I mean, but the religion is free, and they don't used to go to the church, you know. So they are baptized, they are confirmed, married in the Lutheran church, but they don't used to stay in the church. They don't used to frequent, you know. So less than 4% of the church members attend once a week, and 2 are regular participants. I've talked about the welfare state. I have already said about this. It's really good, it is, because they provide pensions, healthcare, daycare, workers' rights, education, health, include to many benefits to migrants. And also I would say that they incentive science and inventions. A large part of Swedish economic is based on sport technical inventions. And they have very good universities like Uppsala, like Lund University. These 2 universities, the population is around 150,000 people, so very strong university they have here. Virginia, how is
yes.
it?
Well, now it's 2:35. Some of the people they say thank you because they have another course, but I think you can go on if because this is going to record. So please be free if people don't mind to finish, because you only have 1 more slide.
Yeah.
But I think it's very important to talk about this, to your personal experience and the strong traits to understand. Okay, everything is okay with this. Please be free if you need to go.
Yeah. No, I was also wondering, because we start a little late and then you have that technical problem, so maybe you have some 15 minutes maybe to finish.
Yes, we can finish 2:50.
Okay, I'll try. So the weak traits we have here, for example, we can talk about the Swedish theory of love. That is not a theory that's selling like a theory in Swedish. That's the name of the documentary. I recommended this documentary. Also, I have seen this documentary 2 years ago when I arrived here. And then Virginia yesterday said something, have you seen the documentary? I said, oh, okay, good to remember. And then I have seen this, I saw this again yesterday with my husband. And then that documentary reports the idea from a group of politicians from Sweden who launched, they launched a manifest that the name is The Family of the Future, which consists mainly in create social and economical conditions that make every person independent as individual. It means free themselves to outdated family structures that maybe person be depend on each other. So what they try to defend is that all authentic human relationships have to be based in guarantee to everybody could be free from each other. They say all the time, could be free from each other, a society of individuals. So a woman needs to be free from the man, free the elderly from their children, free the teenagers from their parents. So the documentary shows some bad consequence of the adoption of this theory, which is, we can say, for example, they show the single female prefer buy sperm for a donor and do a home insemination than have a relationship. They say they want to be a mother, but not have a relationship. They want more space. The women are so independent that they don't want to physical contact. They have good work, they have good salary, the government support them when they need to work and leave their children with in the goods, in the kindergarten, and so they don't need the man. But the question is that they do in the documentary, where would be the man's role in the future? Do the men have not the right to have a family? So if the woman wants to have a family alone without the man, where would be the man? What's the man's role in the society? Another point.
It's very interesting, Viviane, because it's about autonomy. Because women, for example, here when I live in Brazil, women need to fight to or would like to have the rights and to be more self-sufficient, with more finance independence, but they have these difficulties. So they depend on men, and you see that there's no equality. So they would like to have this autonomy, this kind of autonomy. But the problem I see with Sweden is that they went to the other side. It seems that this independent, they don't get the balance between, because it's important to be autonomous, but how can you join this with fraternity, mega fraternity, with careless, with have a health relationship with another, with the family, with another person, with your evolutionary, to create an evolutionary duo, just as we talk in conscientiology, or having a relationship with someone.
Yeah, it's too extreme. It's too extreme ways of life. So it's not good, any of them. So another point that the documentary shows is help Swedish live alone by themselves. So it's common, they discover somebody that is dead for a long time and nobody noticed. They show the case of a complaint from the neighborhoods that they receive from people in a building because they smell rats, mouse in the building, a lot of animals going out from this apartment, and then the department responsible was there, and then they found a guy that had that was killed himself 2 years before, and no one had noticed. So, and also they discovered that the guy had more than 100,000 euros in his account, bank account, and he wrote that he wants that the money goes to state coffers. So the question is, did this person have no families, no friends, no neighbors who missed him? So it shows that they don't have support of each other. They don't have emotion. When they have emotional suffering, they have to ask for the government. They need to request for public services. So the documentary says that sometimes the more money they have, more alone they are. In the end, this documentary also make an interview with Zygmunt Bauer, the author of that famous book that Liquid Society, that explains that today we live in two worlds, one online world and another is offline world. The Swedes have great difficulty in personal contact, in dialogue with people. And for him, this repression and insecurity, this is a consequence of repression is insecurity, you know, because they fear, they are fearing that to feel like less smart, less intelligent than others. So they don't want, they prefer do not have this physical contact. That's why they use a lot of internet. They use a lot of telephone here. So the documentary ends saying that the Swedes are proving that security, money, independence is not happiness. So another thing that's really bad thing here is the alcohol and drug abuse. It's normal for them to use a lot of alcohol to feel free, to feel more open, to have relationship, to talk with people, and to be able to talk with the others, you know. But also the alcoholic beverage here is treated like a public health issue. So it's only possible to buy alcoholic in state stores. So it's a monopoly that have here in Sweden. Another thing is the protection of their job market. So the tourists and the foreign investors are welcome here and they treat them very well. But migrants, even the most qualified migrants, have great difficulty to find a job because they always try to prioritize, give the job for the Swedish. So the question is, are the Swedish racist? It exists. I cannot say, I don't know, everybody is really good here. But because we see a lot of, they speak very badly of migrants, and also we see a lot of xenophobia, like neo-Nazism movements. It's in the beginning, you know. Of course, the most stereotyped are the Muslims because they give the impression they don't want to adapt Swedish customs because they want to maintain the religion, and so they live in ghettos, enjoy themselves with the social benefits, and don't want to talk, don't want to open to integrate in Swedish society. So, but of course, sometimes the Swedish make a stamp to all Arabian person and say, okay, they are lazy, they're like a thief, they are here just to have a social welfare system. And of course, it's not like this. And then another bad thing is the military actions, as we have said before, about the weapons. So the Swedish government, for example, Saab is known for selling warplanes to countries around the world, including Brazil. In addition to airplanes, Sweden is also accused of making and selling other weapons of war, which were used by United States in Iraq. Okay. And I don't know, Virginia, maybe I prefer.
Yes.
I prefer to
close.
Comment. Yeah. And my personal experience is it has many things with all the things that we have said before. Yes. So I can just say some. You can pass. Yeah. Just no. Yeah. I can say only like the topics. I don't need to explain a lot, and then you can talk. You can have the last questions. So the benefits of being here, of course, is the emotional support I have for my partner, my husband, and his family. They are very warmful with me, and they really like. They try to be patient with my bad Swedish, my bad English. So they are very good with me. So I'm very happy for being here. Of course, the welfare state systems, the good conditions that the governments provide, the calm Holocene, as we said, about the natural resource. I live in the forest with a lot of water around. And so this immanent energy makes me feel very good. And the energetic development, as I cannot speak Swedish, I developed this energetic perception, so I can feel many things now. So when I have a big conversation with many people, I'm observing and perceiving more things than before because if I don't understand the language, so I can try to understand the energetic feelings, you know. So it's really good for me. And also the mental somatic development. When I arrive here, I continue studying. I have finished my postdoctorate, but I did one more book. I did many articles and conscientiology articles also. So I returned to study conscientiology more deeply. So it was really good for me to come here and stay in this condition. The difficult, it's of course, is the language, the most, the worst barrier I have here, and the bureaucracy, the things of papers. I took like 15 months to have my visa to stay here, although I was already married, because I arrived in the same time with the refugees that came from Syria in 2015. So it was really hard because I couldn't go to school. I could have health insurance. I was not a citizen. It was really bad. The hospital treatment, I passed for 2 surgeries and it was really different here. And I had coronavirus and the treatment here was really different from the rest of the world, as you see in the television. Mm-hmm. And the problems of integration also, because sometimes I feel like first they try to protect the Swedish people, then after they try to protect the refugees people, because of course they have to do what the law says, no? Try to protect there's a lot of benefits to refugees. In the third place, they look at you, you know, because for example in the school, because they are the majority, they have Arabic teachers, they speak Arabic with them. And I'm a Brazilian, so nobody speaks English, nobody speaks Portuguese with me. So I have to, you know, so I feel alone sometimes. And there has many problems of integration that I felt, but we can discuss in another opportunity. So if somebody else wants to talk about something I said.
Well, I was going to say that your difficulties are very close to adaptation, because language, integration, hospital treatment, it reminds me about migrants' problems. And when you said that you arrived in the same period that Syrians, I thought that it was interesting. Why did you arrive in the same period? That it could be some relation with past life, I don't know, with the Holocaust of Nations. Yeah. Maybe you can say this. Yeah. Yes, the groups have a lot of importance in.
Actually, I'm trying to understand all of this, and that's why I'm writing a book now that the name is Adaptability, and that's the next conference I will give here in Isaac in November. Yes. No, Marcelo?
Of course.
So yes. I'm studying a lot about it to try to understand, to do my recycle, no? Because maybe, of course, it's my guilt also to have this kind of difficulties. My personality traits that bad, the weak traits that make me like not feel comfort, but to be here in some position, some situation. So that's why I need to study more and try to improve this.
Yes. Chris wants to talk, please. Chris?
Yes. Viviane, considering all the Swedish strong traits and weak traits, what kind of approach do you think is best for the consciential paradigm in this country? How could we present the consciential paradigm and present the ideas of the consciential paradigm for the Swedish culture.
You mean which make draw their attention to start to study conscientiology? Is that?
We can say that way. I mean, for example, is
I
there
think
any
a good thing
kind
for
of
them
idea, any
is
kind
because
of ideas of? Yes.
They are not dogmatic, as I said. They are not religious people. So this is really good because this barrier is already done. So you don't have this anymore. So for example, I think they believe, they understand, they feel the energetic process. So I think from the energetic studies, you can get people here and try to understand the conscientiology principles, you know? And then from there, they start to understand the other things. For example, the multidimensionality, the multi-existentiality. So I think from the energetic approach, we can start to work with the Swedish here.
Yeah, are they more kind to do experiment? I mean, do you think they are open to share the results of the experiment with each other?
Yeah, maybe this is it's not a good part because they have this difficult to talk and dialogue, and they expose their emotional expression. But maybe they can try because they are curious. They are inventors. They try to experience, you know. If they will share or not is another thing, but maybe at least in the beginning they will try. They are open because they are not dogmatic.
Considering Swedenborg's study about ectoplasm, do you think by the ectoplasm approach, the ectoplasm subject would be one of the ways to approach the Swedish culture?
Yeah, I think so. And this is related with the immanent energy.
Yes, it's related to the energy. Yes.
Yeah. So that's a good way, of course. And I think that, of course, Swedenborg is like a helper here, no, for the Swedish people. So I think they're trying to connect some of them to be more open to this kind of things, no, discover another ideas and to be more open to study conscientiology maybe in the future.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, we had with Katarini, with Annikatri, we went in January 2018. We went to Stockholm and we did a weekend with energetic technicals during a weekend. And we were 30 people and only one man, that was Pablo. And it was really great. And we feel that the women were interesting about the issue, you know, the energetic technicals. So techniques. So I think it was really good. It's a good way to get their attention.
Yeah.
Viviane,
so yes, thank you. And Vivi, I just have to leave. So thank you.
Thank
and
you.
Congratulations again. Okay.
Thank
and
you.
Congratulations to Isaac, the Bridge team, and
Thank
everybody.
you.
Okay.
Yes.
Bye.
Well, bye. We are about to finish. If you want, yes, of course. If you want, yes, someone wants to say something to finish, and then Vivian, you can finish too, and then.
Let me ask quickly.
Yes.
Vivian, are you in touch with our other conscientiology person?
Evelyn.
With Evelyn.
Yeah, I have been with her in this course in Stockholm. She was the teacher. Yeah, it was really
great. Yeah, because Evelyn was one of the, I think that the first person from Sweden that we had in London doing a course a first course in conscientiology, and then she gradually did some volunteer work here and there, and yeah, so it's good that people get together because to build more mass and to see ways of how we can develop more stuff there. Obviously in Sweden, this is very good. not just in Sweden, but in
the Nordic countries,
Northern
yeah,
Europe,
Scandinavia.
yeah, get in touch or be in touch also with Isabelle Ulisse in Finland and
yeah, Isabelle also, yeah.
yeah.
Actually, my future plan, let's see, I'm trying to to do this is like writing something about adaptability in Portuguese, and then after maybe translating to Swedish, because I think this also will help the migrants, the mass of flux of migrants we have here, to adapt themselves. So, and also to Swedish to integrate with them, because this is a very big issue here. This problem with the different cultures you have here. And so I think the adaptability is a key point.
And there is because of this lack of dogmatism, so to speak, this gives a level of openness that it's very positive in the northern countries in Northern Europe. So there's it's just a matter that to I think to develop more activities, to get in touch with people, and to make a community up there, up north.
Of course, let's be together.
Okay,
somebody else.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, we are finishing right now. Vivian, do you want to finish with something? I'm going to ask because it's 3 o'clock, so we need to finish.
Okay. No, just to say thank you for invitation, and to say that for me it's very difficult to say like in 1 hour so many things we have about Sweden. I'm still discovering this, and maybe another opportunity with this temporal distance, I can have other perspectives and other ideas to share. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your presence.
Thank you,
Vivian. I think it was very interesting. We understand much better Sweden. Well, I invite you all, I think you know all, but the next Brit Cultures will be with Hawaii, with the teacher Michiko, that she lives in Australia, but she was born in Hawaii. So I'll be waiting for you all in September. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Vivian, and see you all.
See you.
Thank you, Viviane. Bye.
Bye.